Hey y'all, welcome to Guppy's Crochet, and today we are going to be making a jack skeleton wreath. It's early, so let's jump right into what you're going to need. You're going to need felt, a sewing needle, stuffing, black yarn, white yarn. I'm using this for my stitch marker because it's easy for me to slide in and out of my projects. Scissors, and I always have problems with this. I'm trying. Nope, not gonna work. A G hook or 4.25 millimeter. And let's get started. I'm pulling out plenty of yarn because I know I'll need it. Alright, first we're going to get a magic ring. And I don't want it that loose. And chain 1. 6 single crochets into your ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now you're going to pull your tail tight, get that center good and cinched up, and I'm counting back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, working into the very first single crochet, working straight into the round. I am going to crochet over my tail so I don't have to sew it in. If you want to sew it in the end, that's fine. So we're going to single crochet 1 and 2 single crochets into that same stitch, and 2 into the next. 1, 2, and you're going to continue this pattern all the way around until you have a total of 12 single crochets. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and I will meet you back at the stitch marker. Alright, and now I have 12 single crochets, and what I did off camera, I pulled my tail a little tighter so I could totally cinch up that hole, and I'm going to keep crocheting right around my tail until it magically disappears. So round 3 we are going to single crochet 1 into your first stitch and 2 into the next. If it'll quit flipping and flopping on me. 1 and 2, replacing my stitch marker. 1, 2, 3, and you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around for a total of 18 single crochets, and I will meet you back at the stitch marker. Okay, round 3 is now complete. Taking out my stitch marker. Round 4 we are going to single crochet once into the next 2 single crochets. There's 1, 2, replacing my stitch marker, and on this round I know I've been crocheting a little tight, so I'm going to loosen up. So that's 2, and I'm going to single crochet 2 into the next single crochet. 1 and 2, and you're going to repeat this pattern all the way around for a total of 24 single crochets, and I will meet you back at the stitch marker yet again for round 5. Okay, round 4 is now complete. 24 single crochets. Round 5 we're going to single crochet into the next 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, replacing our stitch marker, and single crochet 2 into the next. 1, 2, and you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around for a total of 30 single crochets, and I'll meet you back at round 6 at the stitch marker. I forgot to cut on my lights until now, so I just did, so hopefully that helps you guys see a little better. Round 5 is now complete. Round 6, this is going to be our last increase row. We are going to single crochet into the next 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 into the next. 1, 2, replacing our stitch marker. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to repeat that pattern all the way around for a total of 36 single crochets. And I told a fib about increase rows. Sorry, I will be back for round 7. Meet you at the stitch marker. Round 6 is now complete. You should have a total of 36 single crochets. Round 7, we're going to single crochet into the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, replacing our stitch marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 2 single crochets into the next, and you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around. 5 singles, 2 together, for a total of 42 single crochets, and I will meet you back at the stitch marker. Round 7 is now complete. Round 8, you guessed it, we are going to do another increase row. So we are going to single crochet into the next 6. 1, 2, 3, stitch marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're going to repeat that pattern all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 2 into the next, all the way around for a total of 48 single crochets. And while you're here, how about do me a huge favor, like, subscribe, and click that little bell so that every time I post a video you will get that notification, and I will return for round 9. Alright, that was in fact our last increase row. So you should have a total of 48 stitches all the way around, and it should look like this, some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-sided thing. But as you saw before, it's going to get round. So for round 9 to 14, so that's going to be a total of 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yes, I use my fingers to count. So for the next 6 rows, you are going to simply single crochet into each and every stitch all the way around, 48 stitches around, for 6 rounds. And I will meet you back at my, I pulled it out, and I'll meet you back at the stitch marker for round 15. Alright, round 14 is now complete, and yours should look somewhat like a bowl, like this. Removing our stitch marker. Round 15, we are going to single crochet into the next 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, counting back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, doing this again, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and now we're going to do a decrease. So this is going to go over the next 2 stitches, so insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, into the next, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and pull through all 3 loops. And you're going to repeat this pattern all the way around, single crochet 6, 2 together, and at the end of round 15 you should have 42 stitches, and I will meet you back at the stitch marker for round 16. Round 15 is now complete. Removing our stitch marker. Don't know why my camera got dark on me. I don't know. I hope that's not showing up. But anyway, round 16, we are going to single crochet into the next 5 stitches. 1, 2, whoops, 3, 4, 5, replacing our stitch marker, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and single crochet 2 together into the next for our decrease, and we're going to repeat that pattern all the way around, 5 and decrease, 5 and decrease, all the way around for a total of 42 stitches. And I will meet you back at the stitch marker for round 17. Round 16 is now complete. Removing our stitch marker, and you notice we are getting smaller and smaller here. So round 15, 16, 17, we are going to single crochet into the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, replacing that stitch marker, 1, 2, 3, 4, and single crochet 2 together over the next 2 stitches. And we're going to repeat that pattern all the way around for a total of 30 stitches, and I will meet you back at the stitch marker. Alright, round 17 is now complete. Removing my stitch marker. Round 18, we're going to single crochet into the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. Replacing our stitch marker. 1, 2, 3. And single crochet 2 together over the next 2 stitches, and you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around for a total of 24 stitches, and I'll meet you back at the stitch marker for round 19. Alright, round 18 is now complete. We are going to, wait a minute, did I say that right? Round 18 is complete. Round 19, we are going to single crochet into the next 2 stitches. 1, 2, replace the stitch marker, single crochet 2 together over the next 2 stitches, 2 together, and you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around for a total of 18 single crochets, and at the end of this round you're going to start stuffing the head. And I will be right back after I've got mine somewhat stuffed for round 20. Alright, 19 is complete. I've stuffed my head, I hope enough. I haven't mastered the art of stuffing enough, and sometimes I stuff too much. So round 19 is complete. Round 20, we are going to single crochet into the next stitch, and into the next we are going to single crochet 2 together, and we're going to repeat that all the way around. And if you don't have enough stuffing in your head, at the end of this one, stuff them some more. And I will be right back at meet you at the stitch marker. Yeah, that. Alright, end of round 20, you should have 12 single crochets. For round 21, making sure you have enough stuffing in yours, we are going to decrease, and we're going to work that pattern all the way around, and at the end of this you should have a total of 6 stitches remaining. I'm having issues getting my stitch marker back in now because it's so tight, and I'll get it. I'll meet you back to show you how to finish it off, or how I finish it off. Be right back. Okay, we're almost closed up here, and I'm going to cut over here, sorry, off camera, but I've got a long tail. So 6 single crochets, we are going to slip stitch into the next single crochet and pull through. And threading this right up on our needle, because I cut it too long as usual, and it's still too long, but again, like I've said before, I'd rather cut it too long than too short. So into the back loop of the next stitch, I'm going to just pull that joker on out and do the next, and the next, and again I'm only going through the back loop only, and the next, and I kind of ran out, but I'm going to squish through that anyway. Alright, now I'm just going to go through the center here. Even though I know it's good and closed, I want to make good and sure. And now going through pretty much the center of it, and I'm coming out way down here somewhere on the side, wherever it comes out. As long as it doesn't split my yarn, I'm happy with that. And pull all the way through. Now cut my yarn, squish it, and it went right inside there. And of course, mine's kind of flat instead of round, and if yours is, you can shape it however you want to. I'm going to try and fluff mine up. I wasn't happy with the stuffing that I did on my first jack, So I hope I got enough in there this time. I'm just squishing it all around, all around. And he's not going to be a perfect circle, but come on, he's Jack. I don't want him to be perfect. And of course, they're all going to be different. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm just looking here. And now for the eyes. I'm going to cut off this little piece. And try and mimic if I can. And I'm horrible at cutting felt. So kind of a footballish shape. Yeah, I'm going to have to cut and cut and cut and cut to figure out how to do this. But what I will do is this. So if you want to pause the video and maybe trace around on a piece of paper. Maybe use cardboard to get it Jack-ish shaped. That's how I tried to do the eyes the first time, but again, you don't want it to be exactly perfect. So I'm going to do that off camera and be right back. Oops, well, I guess I forgot to cut my camera off whenever I was up. Anyway, the one thing I forgot this time, because I have a really bad habit of forgetting and leaving out, I use this. You can use whatever it is you want to glue your eyes on. Craft glue, hot glue, gun, super glue. And I'm definitely going to do this off camera because I always glue my fingers together, which is why I don't have a hot glue gun, because I know me, I would burn myself. So while I stick these jokers on, and I'm going to let this dry a minute, and I will be right back. I should have added a little disclaimer here, I guess. This is not for small kids, because they can pull these off and choke on them. So it would be safer to go with yarn sewing that in. But anyway, I'm going to show you what I do. You don't have to do this, but I notice with the felt my glue always comes through. I usually do this at the end and not now, but so hopefully my ink won't run, because I'm using an Expo dry erase marker thing. Runny nose. But anyway, I'll do that just so the eyes will be black again, because the glue comes through. I don't know if it does it with a hot glue gun, so I can't tell you if it does or if it doesn't, because like I said, I don't have one. So now, grabbing our black yarn, and I'm going to get a good bit cut, and I'm looking for my other needle if I don't knock my camera over getting it. That one's too long. Perfect. Not really. I have one shorter than this somewhere, but I don't know where it ran off to. Threading our needle. Making a little smiley face. I think it's going to start right around in here. I've got too much yarn, but and dropping down somewhere on the bottom to give him a smiley face. I'll go in here, and I'm not telling you how many rows down I'm going because I don't know. I'm just guesstimating. Oop, and my yarn came out. Rethread. And I should have pulled more, so hopefully I can figure out how to do that. Yay. I'm confusing myself here. It's not hard to do. Okay, maybe that'll be enough. I know it is. I'm not used to sewing faces on and stuff, and I'm not good at it. Oops. And somewhere along in here. That looks even to me. Yeah, close enough. So I'm going to go in through here, and I'm going to go on over 2 stitches and see how it works out for me. If it doesn't, don't blame me. I already said I'm not good at this stuff. That's close enough to a smile, right? And now going over for the little, looks like I'm giving him stitches in the mouth. I don't like that going loopy-loop. So yeah, from here on out, I'm just going to yarn over. Not yarn over. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I'm doing my best. Wonky wonky. But that's how you want Jack's mouth to be anyway, right? The little stitches around his mouth. But I'm not trying to get it tangled and twisted. I'm trying. My first one came out better, I think. But you can tell what he is. Don't follow me because the first time I don't know, I guess I was more confident, and oops. I guess I was more confident in it, and I was actually looking at a picture, but right now I don't have internet, so that's why I'm like, well, might as well make a video. I can't do anything else, really. Anyway, you're going to go through and through and through and through. Yep. I'm happy with that. So going through some kind of back loop here, pulling my yarn out. This one, same thing. If I can get to the end. And I've probably gone off camera 50 billion times. I have no idea. I should have been paying better attention, but I wasn't. Why I didn't cut this before now, I don't know. I'm trying to get my thoughts together and taking care of my husband while he's recovering from this virus. Going in here, going out the back. And now cutting these off. And squish, and it'll go right back in his head. So now for the nose. I don't need my yarn this long. Y'all stop coming for me. Oh my goodness, look at all the yarn she's wasting. I know. And his nose, I'm going to go in here, up into the next stitch, and I want his nose to be crooked, so come on, I want you out of there. I don't want him all double strand nose pieces. And through this kind of crooked. I think that'll be crooked. Yeah, that'll be crooked. Now going through, if it will. There we go. Pulling that one out. Grabbing this one. And I'm going to go into the same. I wonder if that'll work. Yep. I'm going to go through here. If it doesn't work the way I want, oh, see, not wanting to work. I lost my yarn. Now going through some kind of stitch in the back. If I can find a place where my yarn doesn't want to split. There we go. And pull that out. There. Another piece of yarn. Now this one, I want it to be a little straighter, so I'm going to go in here and straight up into the next one, if that'll work. And pulling out the back. That's cute. I hope yours is cuter than mine, but I'm happy with that. So now what I'm going to do with the dangly tail for this front piece, I'm going to go into the same place, pulling it through the back. See, that nostril isn't as big as the other. I guess I could have doubled it up, but again, I'm pleased. So cut your little stragglers out. If you want to, you could have, you can double your yarn and pull it out however you want. And now I've got these, so squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Come on, go in there. Gotta squeeze the pimple sometimes. Okay, that's not working. There we go. Now it's in there. Okay. Now if you want to, if you did how I did, what you can do, I keep moving my camera, sorry. But you can put like a drop of glue on it just to make sure it doesn't come out. Again, this is not made for little kids that can easily get choked, so be right back while I clean up all my little mess here. And we will get started on our wreath and bow tie. Okay, for the wreath, I can't go anywhere right now, so I couldn't get a styrofoam ring. So I had to make mine this way. If you have a wreath, you can single crochet around it, black and white, how many ever. But here's how I made mine. Chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Was that? Okay. Chain 21. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1. Okay, single crochet into the next single crochet, or you can join here and single crochet all the way around. Either way, you're going to have 20 single crochets, but this is just how I do mine. I'm going to single crochet across for 20 single crochets, and I will be right back. Okay, now I've got my 20 single crochets. I'm going to single crochet into the very first single crochet on the end. So there's 1, 2, replacing my stitch marker, 3, 4, and I'm going to go all the way around, and once I get a few rows in, I'll be right back to show you a little more. But go ahead, and I would say 10 rows, and I'll meet you back and I'll show you how I do it in a much easier way than I made this little guy, because it was a job to get the stuffing in there for it to work out. But anyway, I'll be back after, I don't know, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I'll be back in 10 rows, so you can go ahead and do 10 rounds. Sorry, do 10 rounds, and I will meet you back at the stitch marker. Alright, so now I've got this black yarn pulled out here. And I've got my 10 rounds going on. And I'm knocking everything over on my table. I'm going to load up this instead of taking out my hook. But anyway, at the bottom of this, now I'm going to go into the first whatever stitches these are, just enough to keep them together. Just to have a webbing on the bottom, if that makes sense. And I'm not doing this in any kind of particular anything. I'm just trying to create a web. Not a spider web, just some kind of where it'll hold my stuffing in. Because what I did on this guy right here, I ended up getting hurt because I'm clumsy. What I did was, instead of doing it this way, which probably, I don't know if it's going to be better, but I'm just showing you what I'm going to try and do, and if it doesn't work, oh well. Maybe that'll be enough. I just want to catch-all kind of thing, if that makes sense. I'm going to take this out later, but I'm going to cut it because I don't need that. Again, I'm going to take this out later. You won't keep that in there. Well, you can if you figure out a better way than me. So I'm 10 rows in. And by the way, the first time I got hurt, this is why. I used a pipe cleaner, and as the wreath was getting longer and longer, I had it in my lap, and I kept getting little scratchies going on with the pipe cleaner because, yeah, it just didn't work out well. But anyway, now I'm 10 rows in. I've got my little webbing here as my little catch-all, and you can start stuffing. And here, now you know why I've got the yarn in, so I won't be pushing through and then the yarn coming out. So I'm going to build and build and build, and this is just going to get longer and longer. Before I did it a different way from what I'm doing this. I did 10 black, 10 white, 10 black, 10 white until I felt like it was long enough, and that's what I'm going to do here. But I think, I don't know how many rows I'm going to end up doing, or how many or whatever, but I'm going to go black and white. You can go 10 and 10, or you can go 20 and 10, or 20 and 20, or however it is that you want. You'll know when I know, and I'm going to be right back. Maybe I'm going to finish this. Maybe I'll go to the bow tie. It depends on how bored I get. But either way, I'll be back in a little while. Okay, now what I did, I went ahead and I went 20 rows instead of 10. But what I would suggest, I didn't do this because I didn't want to cheat y'all and say, well, you could have told me that before. But what you're going to want to do is every probably about 5 rows, go ahead and stuff some more in there if you're making it like this, unless you're blessed enough to have a styrofoam ring. Stuff, stuff, stuff. Wow, that's a lot of stuffing. But again, I can't go anywhere or do anything, so I have to do it this way. So now once I've completed my 20th, almost 20th, so this would be, let me undo this. So I'm going to say this is 19 and now 20. But instead of completing that last stitch, I'm going to grab my black yarn. Now that will complete that last stitch. Removing my stitch marker here. Cut my white yarn because I don't need it now. And pull out a little bit of a longer tail because I'm going to lock this in. So now with the black, I'm going to go into that first single crochet and come on over with my tail. Now that won't come out. I won't have to sew over anything or sew that in. So that's going to be 1. And now I'm grabbing my working yarn and I'm going to crochet right on over my 2 tails here. 2, 3, and I don't know how many. Oh, I'm not replacing my stitch marker now because I can see where I started, but once I get around, I'm going to put my stitch marker back in, and we're just going to continue going right over those tails because at the end of it, it should by rights go right into, we'll see in a minute. it should by rights, it should fall right into my project, so I don't have to worry about seeing those again. Yep. And nope, it's gonna go outside, but that's okay. If your tail ends up sticking out, all you gotta do is here we go. Now all you gotta do, take your scissors, making sure you're not cutting anything you don't want to be cut. Take your scissors and just snip it. I don't think mine's close enough, but oh well, I'll go back later and finish. So how many ever rows, rounds, whatever I do with the black, I don't know. See, I've got a piece of yarn sticking out here. I'm just going to pull it and snip it. And that's going to come out some more anyway, so the tail, it will end up going back in there. Don't know how many rows, rounds, whatever I'm going to do with the black. I've got more black than I've got white. I'm about to run out of white soon. I hope I got enough to get me through this, but and you don't have to use black and white. You can use whatever colors you want to. And this first one is going to be a little tight. 1 and 2. Now I'm going to replace my stitch marker and go off camera to do rows and rows and rows of how many ever. I don't know how I'm going to do. I don't know. I did 20 here, so maybe 20 or 10, or I don't know. You'll know whenever I know. So I will be back, and yep, eventually we'll get to the tie, because this wasn't, that was just something I wanted to do on my own, and who knows, maybe I'll add more, but I'll be back later. Alright, now I've completed all of my rounds that I want to complete, and I have 2, 4, 6, 80 rounds. Here's 2, 4, 6, 8. And it wasn't quite as long as what I wanted it to be. I'm taking out my stitch marker. I know y'all can't see that. It wasn't as long as what I wanted it to be, so at the end, just give it a little tug. And now I'm going to measure, and whoops, mine is roughly 27 inches. Yeah, it's about 27. So I went ahead and I took out my black yarn I had here, and I'm going to try and figure out which one is the first stitch and go ahead and finish that round to make it a nice little evenish looking thing. And over here, I'm going to cut my yarn way too long as usual. But, again, I'd rather it be too long than too short. And I should have pulled more out of it. So anyway, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get this all on camera now. So I've got this end and this end. I guess technically it's going to end up being 81 rounds, because I'm going to try. It's not working out so well for me, It didn't the first time. I don't know why I would think it would. This, yeah, at the end, slip stitch. That's what I forgot to do. And pull out that really long tail. Okay. Now, I'm cutting off some more of this yarn because I've cut it really too long. Alright, finding the end here and the end here. Back up this table some. I'm going to zoom in. I should have went ahead and did this before I came back on camera, but I figure it this way. If I'm having a rough time, y'all probably are too, and it's like, I want y'all to see how I'm figuring out how to do this. Okay, so I've got my yarn threaded through my needle. And I'm going to try my best to put this end into this end. And let's see how I'm going to do this. I'm going to lay it out this way so I can see what I'm doing and y'all can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to somehow or another do this, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go in this way, end to end, yeah, that worked. Add a little more stuffing too, because that's all I've got left is a little. I picked that up pretty good, huh? And I know this end is stuffed well enough for me. I don't want it to be too tight though on the very end. I mean, y'all see I'm stuffing a lot, but here around the edge it's really loose. Like, anyway. So sew these two together, if it'll stay. It would if I was holding it in my lap, but yeah, I'm not doing that. So I'm going now into the next stitch and the next stitch on here and getting all the stuffing out of my way. And this isn't going to hold together tight, but, and I didn't even think, I guess I zoomed in too much, huh? I'm not trying to get off camera. And into this stitch and that stitch. Keep pushing that stuffing down. And you're just going to keep doing this over and over and over, all the way around until you have, okay, I'm not going to be able to do this on camera at all, but if you keep going all the way around, this, the black and the white are going to connect, and you're just going to keep sewing all the way around until you get back to the beginning, and I'll meet you there. Okay, I'm not at the end yet, but I went in and out a few times, and now I'm trying not to get my stuffing caught up. But I'm just going from the white to the black, or you can go black to the white, whichever way. And I'm just going to keep doing this, all the way around. And it's going to get tighter and tighter as I go. And that stuffing, it's going to continuously get in the way. But that's okay, because this is where Jack is going to be sewn on. Just make sure you sew it together really well, really tight, so it's not going to come apart. And it doesn't have to be, you know, I know you have 20 around on this side and the other side and whatever, but as long as it's sewn together, that's what we're looking for. So I'm going to continue doing this for a few more. I'm almost there. And see, once you do get it together and you're able to pull it tighter, it will come together better. I'll be right back. Once you get it sewn all the way together, leave your tail. Don't cut it, just leave it. Leave the white, that's fine. Now on mine, this side, you can see how messy it is. And that's okay, because we're going to cover it. But like mine, also, you may not have a messy side. Like if you look really hard, you can see it. But that's where Jack's going to go anyway. That's why we're leaving the tails out, because if I can roll it the right way, the way that I want, if I can do this, seems like the more I roll, it doesn't matter. It's always going to be goofy looking on the outside. But anyway, we're going to get to all of that. I'll be right back. I'm going to get my stuff together now for making a bow tie. And see, Jack will fit nicely in there, and you can stretch it out to make it a little bit larger. Or if you want to shape it in some kind of a weird way, you can do that too. But anyway, that's what you're going to use this yarn for. So if you want to go ahead and sew him right on in there, I'm going to wait on mine, but I'm going to take my getting it together in my head. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this needle, thread up both of them, and go in and out a couple of times on Jack, and then I'm going to tie the pieces together. But anyway, we'll get there. I'll be back as soon as I get my stuff together for his tie. Let's see, I've been using a G hook. You can continue using that hook if you like, but I think I'm going to go up a size and be ready for your white and black yarn. We're not done with it yet, but I'm going to get my stuff together and be right back. Okay, it took me a minute to find everything. I knew I had my pattern written, but I lost it, but I found it. So anyway, with your white yarn, or if you want, you can do this tie in black. We are going to chain 31. I forgot your slip stitch. I've been up for way too long and not enough coffee. So slip stitch, chain 31, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to go ahead and pretend that I have 31, and you're going to chain into the next stitch, single crochet into the next stitch, and all the way down for a total of 31 single crochets, and I will be right back. Before I forgot again, I did go up a hook size, so now I'm using an H hook or a 5.0 millimeter hook. Again, you can continue using a smaller hook. You can go up. It's up to you. The possibilities are endless. And I will be right back. Alright, that's row 1, row 2. You're going to chain 1, single crochet into that first stitch, and into the next, and all the way down for a total of 30 single crochets. And at the end of this row, you're going to repeat round 2, chain 1, single crochet into 1 for 30 rows, and you're going to do that for a total amount of rows. This is 2, 3, 4, 5. So once you complete this, you've got 3 more rows to go. How I'm doing it anyway. Again, you can do it however you want, but I'm going to have a total of 5 white rows, and I will be right back. Alright, now I'm at the end of round row 5. In the last single crochet, you're not going to complete that last stitch. You're going to go in 1 and hold, grabbing our black yarn. Now you're going to finish. Pulling a little bit more of a tail here. Cutting my white. Too long. You want to have a little bit too long. I do. I'm not going to yarn over this. I'm just going to let it hang there. Chain, looking for my tail. Chain 1 with the tail. And going into that same stitch, yarn over. Now I'm going to grab my working yarn and finish that stitch. Now that's 1, 2, and I'm going to go all the way across for a total of 30 single crochets, and I'll be right back. Okay, I went ahead and cut my yarn, and also whenever I changed my yarn for that black tail, I just yarned over so I wouldn't have to sew that in. So now we've got our 6 rows folded in half, and now we're going to sew going through the black on top here and into the first single crochet, sew it together, and go all the way down the side, sewing that together. Normally, you know, I'd go off camera, but I don't have time right now to stop and play and whatever, and no, this isn't perfect, but it's not going to be seen anyway. And pulling this out, I'm keeping my tails here. We're going to need that. Well, this is kind of goofy up at the top. Yep, I goofed. Nothing I can't fix. So, if you followed my wonky instructions, you've got your last stitch sticking out here too. So I'm just going to stick my needle right back in there, sewing it together. And that's gonna stay. Most things are easily fixed. I'm gonna come back down here. Nope, not not sewing it up real pretty, but this is going to be hidden anyway. As long as it stays, that's what we're going for. This white piece of yarn here, kind of up at the top, I'm going to grab that and I'm going to do the same thing. Sew it on down to the bottom. Sew it on down. Sew it on down. I know y'all are, for somebody who doesn't like sewing, she sure is sewing a lot. Yeah, well, I am. But it sure beats it falling apart and having to go back and undo and re-sew all over again. Alright, I got all my strings to the bottom. And black yarn. Let's see, we single crocheted and I'm going to use my smaller hook for this. There's a method to my craziness here. Long tail. We single crocheted and we did 30 here, so we're going to do half of that and see if that'll be long enough. So chain 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Wait a minute. 12. Stop at 12. One more. Now, single crochet across for a total of 15. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going off camera. Be right back. Alright, I got one row done and I'm going to go for, I'm thinking 2 more. So chain 1 and single crochet into this and into each stitch across. And I will be right back. Alright, I'm going to do one more row. No, I'm not. I'm cutting right there. I see what I'm doing. I'm going to cut mine right there. It probably could use another row, but I like it. If you want to go for another row, you can. If you don't, you do not have to. I'm looking for all my yarn here. Okay. Somehow or another. There we go. Now I've got all my yarn coming out the bottom, or the top, or the whatever side that is. Now I'm going to make sure that seam is right in the middle. And I'm going to take this and wrap it all the way around nice and tight. Find the string to this. Get out of my way, yarn. Try and get it good and centered in the back and tie it. Good and tight. And it's still not tight enough, but we're going to fix that. As long as we get it good and centered. I like that. So now I will take whatever piece of yarn I can get my hands on, needle, and I'm going to come across here into that side and into this side of my bow tie. Now it'll be good and tight. There. once you get it good and centered where you want it to be, you give it a little tug on this side, give it a little tug on this side. You got a cute little bow tie. Now, you can take your strings, more sewing, yay. Almost done, I promise. Now I'm going to come in through the back, and I want to come in through the top of my bow tie. Right in between the stitches, but I'm not getting front and back. Oh, come on, go all the way. I don't even know where I'm at anymore. I'm coming under my bow tie. Between that little loopity-doopity part. Top of my bow tie. Coming through here. And going out through the little center part again. Awesome. I just want to make it where it's all attached to where the little centerpiece, it won't move now. Oh, joy, joy, joy. Alright. Whoops. Sorry, Jack. Moving my bow tie out of the way. Now with the long tail still attached to here. Too long tail. Thread a needle. Where do we want Jack to be placed? I want him in the center, so I'm going to go through the bottom of him here. And out through something over here. Kind of get him placed where I want him. Going in through another side over here, through the bottom here, and now I'm going to go through the black part closest to where I can on my seam. And let's see how he looks. Cool. And now just figure out where you want him to be placed. Keep him in that same area-ish. I'm trying to keep the black yarn where you can't really see it. Oh, Jack's getting crooked. I'm trying to fall out of the loop. Stay in the hole, Jack. Just trying to feel about, make sure it's going to go through without splitting anything I don't want to be split. And that's how you get Jack on there. And I'm going to, off camera, secure him better than that. Now grabbing our tie. Cute little bow tie. I'm going to put mine up like this, and I'm going to go white yarn through the white, black yarn through the black, sew it on, and with the ends you can tie them behind Jack's head right here, which is why I left this here, because I want to make sure it's all going to be tied on and not just sewn in, but I want it to be tied because I don't ever want this coming apart. And I'll be back. Okay, now I have Jack kinda sewn on pretty good. This is sewn on pretty good, and I've got all these strings left. So take all of your strings and pull them from the front to the back. Trying to make sure I got them all. Nope. Yes, I know my Jack is crooked, and that's okay. He's not supposed to be perfect, and I'm going to fix him anyway. Okay, this white one that's coming out from where we first started, I'm going to leave that one alone. I'm not going to tie that one together. But the rest of them, I am. Because I want it to be good and secure. The head and the bow tie. Here's one. Two. And last one for good measure. Three. Cut these short. Very last one, which is our very first one. You might not have it already, yours poking out. You may have already taken care of it or sewn it or whatever. But I'm going to go through there, cut it, and it'll go back up in there. Oops, that's attached. Now, ha ha ha. And I can't play the Halloween song because I don't have internet. We're waiting on a modem to come in, so whenever I get my modem, you'll all see this. And there we go. Ha ha ha. And I can still adjust them and make them better. Perfect circle, but I don't want a perfect circle because it's Jack and he's not supposed to be perfect. He's just cute and really, really cool. Oh, yeah. Now I gotta figure out how to do another thing. I can't think of its name. The Grinch. Yeah, I gotta do the Grinch. But I'm gonna try and borrow my husband's phone to see if I can find the pattern that I got figured out for it. Anyway, y'all have a good day. Bless you all. Have a, have a good morning, noon, or night. Whatever time it is in your neck of the woods. God bless you, and I'll see you later. Bye.